Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. You guys know that I've received a lot of glass pads recently, been putting a lot of time into glass pads with different skates, but I have received a few non-glass pads that I just want to go over and show you guys because I think these three are probably the ones that I would use the most. One of them is probably going to be a main type pad for me. But I've got three really nice pads that are new off the block. I'm just going to get into the Tang Dao briefly. You guys already know I love this pad. To me, it is the closest thing to an Artisan Zero. I think it's a little bit better than a Zero. It catches dust particles a little bit less. It feels ever so slightly more tightly knit, so it is a little bit smoother. And in my opinion, it is a little bit more consistent. To me, it is a down-the-middle balance pad, but it is advertised as control, and I think you get more control with full-size PTFE skates. It does feel like a just down-the-middle speed, nothing that's too fast, nothing that is slow, and it's not a pad that has any mud or tug as you are quickly switching positions. So to me, it's one of the control pads that I love because it isn't anything that provides this kind of like magnetized effect on your mouse. It's something that just feels open and has a heck load of a lot of consistency without ever getting that end of range motion wiggle. It is a 4mm pad. It is pour-on foam and has a little bit of squish to it, and it has that mirrored base again, so it's not going to move on your desk. To me, it's just a fantastic pad and extremely underrated in the market right now, particularly for those looking for a zero type pad. Now, despite the fact that I find myself playing better, more so on balance pads, my toxic character trait is I, for whatever reason, continue to go back to speed pads. The Dash 2 is a complete upgrade over the original. It takes it from that kind of hard feeling hybrid to a little bit of a softer feeling hybrid. It is advertised as a cloth pad, but the weave, the fabric itself, it does make it feel more along the lines of a hybrid pad. This thing is very tightly knit, and it does have a ton of speed. So if you're using fast skates like the Ghost Glide Cyclone dots here on my Tarek, to me it's a little bit too fast. But it's such a consistent feel. It's such a good pad in terms of durability. I've beaten the heck out of this thing. You can see there's a little bit of wear where some spots on the pad are getting a little bit darker, just from a little bit of those oil spots or dirt spots, but nothing that has affected my glide in any way, shape, or form. I think it's a very consistent speed pad, and one that is when I go to a little bit more of a controlled skate over something very fast like the Cyclones, it is a beautiful experience that provides me a heck load of a lot of consistency. To me, this is one of the best pads that I've tested in 2024 so far. I think it's probably going to go under the radar just because it's a Fanatic pad, but it is a surface that is over the stitching. The stitching is exceptionally well done. It is authentic pour-on. The only thing I don't like about the pad is 6mm to me is just, it's a little too thick. It comes off my desk, and the way I aim, it kind of hits my arm just in a way that I don't find as natural or as comfortable as the next pad I'm going to show you guys, which is the Neptune Pro. Oh, and I do want to show you guys the base as well. It is pretty cool. You've got the Fanatic logo there. Max Foam 6mm pour-on there on the bottom. It's a very nice pad, but the 6mm, like the differences in a lot of these pads nowadays that are coming out, a lot of these pads are so good and so competitive that just the fact that this is 6mm and I prefer something a little bit thinner is enough for me to decide to main the Neptune over the Dash 2. The Neptune is a exceptional pad. It is the pad that out of everything in terms of my non-glass speed pads, I would lean towards the Neptune Pro as my main pad. In soft, it just beats the heck out of the original, in my opinion, and it has a nicer base that does not move at all, and the pad lays flat. It does have beautiful stitching that is, I would say, even to the surface of the pad. And overall, it's like a very tightly woven surface that feels very almost like a little bit harder than most cloth pads, but very smooth. Now, the issue with things that are that tightly woven, you do get some dust particles and things that sit very obviously on the surface of the pad. It's almost a good thing as well, because then it's just so obvious that you can pinpoint it and wipe it down. But overall, the consistency on X and Y is probably one of the best I've had in a very long time. For different types of skates, you really do get this experience that can take this pad from one that is a lot more ticks over balanced to speed, or again, with full-size PTFE, you can get a little bit more of a balanced experience that is maybe like a tick or two towards speed. So it's a pretty versatile pad depending on your preference of skates. But the main thing, again, is just it's a very unique fabric, one that feels kind of like very smooth, a little bit harder than some cloth. You don't feel any of the fibers sticking up on the pad, which I really enjoy. It almost makes it feel like a hard surface cloth hybrid, just the way that it's designed. It's very cool, feels very unique. And a pad, again, that, man, if you want some speed, you can really get some speed. Or if you want something that's a little bit more tame, but still feels very open, low dynamic, very open on static. You can see, because it is a black pad and because of how tightly woven it is, areas of kind of like dirt buildup and things like that you'll see on the surface of the pad over time. But again, as long as you take care of the pad, wipe it down, in those areas, I've just noticed no issues of wear or differences in speed. I think it's one of the best pads on the market. And again, if I'm not using glass, this is probably going to be the main selection, the Neptune Pro in soft. You guys that follow me for quite a while probably know I am pretty good friends with Nacho Customz, so I'm not going to do a full review of the Arbiter Studio Polar 65 Calabera, which is a collab with Nacho. But I'll show you guys the board a little bit more in depth. You've got that CNC'd aluminum body that does have this very kind of sparkly silver aesthetic to it. Looks good, in my opinion. Light pops off of it. The back of the board, you guys will see, is a white, almost frosty transparent, where you can see a little bit of the RGB and the switches there through the back of the board. It does have a lip that comes up a little bit, so as you are laying it flat on your desk, it comes up a little with those two rubber stoppers here as well, keeping it very still on your desk. Overall, though, the keycaps are really what's new here. Arbiter Studio has done a custom profile, that they refer to as AOP, and it's a 5-sided die-sub PBT keycap. It looks very good. Whatever the printing process here is on this particular profile, it comes through very high res. The colors pop, and the texture of the keycaps is actually very nice as well. It's something that I think wicks moisture away for the most part, and overall feels good. The profile of the particular keycaps makes the board feel and sound quite thocky. It does need a little bit additional force because they're a little bit heavier, but overall it adds a very nice thock, and I'll just do a little sound test for you guys here. Overall, I'm really happy with the way it looks. I'm overall very happy with the way it sounds. The only thing I would probably do is lube that spacebar a little bit to take away just a little bit of the rattle in the spacebar, but overall, all the other stabilizers just sound and feel very good and very thocky. I'll go through the RGB profiles with you guys. If you hold FN and hit enter, it kind of cycles through all of the RGB profiles. There are quite a lot, which is nice, and the RGB does, I think, look very good shining through the board. You guys can see you can go through single colors, a breathing effect. They just have a heckload of a lot of profiles that look very good mixed with the silver frame and the Nacho Custom keycaps. So guys, really that's all I've got. Hopefully that gave you guys a closer look to the new Polar 65. And if anybody was in the market for a new mouse pad, I think the 3 that I displayed in this video are some of 2024's best. I hope it helped, guys. If it did, please leave a sub to the channel. I'll see you guys in the next review. Peace.